What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
We don't normally get this kind of action.
It's for us. It's just
exciting.
us. It's the way our stream is.
Oh, dear. It's because you guys are here.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
You call runs when you're not supposed to, and Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Know-It-Alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. Ready to go? It's Super Bowl week, everybody. Get jacked up.
We made it to this point, Joe. We made it through COVID-19 and everything. We all made it through here.
We
did
fought
it.
through the pandemic.
Absolutely.
We've made it another year. Just for you guys out there, we really appreciate all the support out there. Thank you guys so much. Another thing, too, is if you guys have any family, friends, anything like that want to join and be a part of the Know-It-All crew here, go ahead. You can search us on Facebook or YouTube, Football on the Know Show. Become and hit the subscribe button on YouTube, as well as the notification bell to get all our latest and greatest updated content, as well on Facebook. Become a member. Become a Know-It-All on Facebook. And also you can follow us on Twitter at FB_Know, which is where we share most of our stories. And so
yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Again, in our fourth year, we really appreciate you guys joining us with us tonight. But it is, Super Bowl's coming up.
Super Bowl week.
Not the teams I wanted in it. It's going to be a big downer for me. Know, but we got to, watch it and see how it goes. And
well, we
it's
don't
gonna be
have to
exciting.
watch it.
I guess I don't. I told everybody I wasn't going to.
We could always just just not watch it,
right?
But just party.
So, yeah, what do you guys think about the Super Bowl coming up? Your favorites? Give us whatever your hot takes are. Read it there on the comments. And so we got some things planned for you guys tonight. First of all, we do our picks competition every year, at least for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And Joe ends up losing it this year again, barely by the skin of his teeth again. So he is serving out his punishment here. He is drinking the football of Jack Daniels here.
It's Dr. Daniels.
Started it. Yeah. And I'm drinking some Jameson and some other stuff here. So we're having a lot of fun. If there's any drinking games you want us to play out there, too, let us know. Hit us up in the comments, too. So what we're going to do here for our show tonight, before we get into the Super Bowl preview, is we like to do a little thing that we call Under the Radar here. And we're going to do the AFC and the NFC East and West here. So let's roll some music here and let's get it going. If you guys have some players in mind, too, that you think might
definitely
be some of your under-the-radar players,
let
us know, too, in the comments,
for
too,
sure.
what you guys think.
If there's players that we haven't mentioned that you guys, whether you're a fan of the team or not, and you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy should be in this category as well. So what we're going to do, AFC East right now? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, let's hit it up. AFC East. Joe's starting off with the AFC East.
All right, so I cover the AFC East in this one. So I start off with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, man, I was really rooting for them this year. I was hoping they could get it done, maybe make yet another Super Bowl appearance, but they just didn't have enough in the tank. But for underrated player for the Buffalo Bills, I went with cornerback Taron Johnson. He played a lot of nickel corner for the Bills this year. He played all 16 games. He started 11 of them. But in the end, he ended up with 1 pick, had 7 pass defense, 1 forced fumble, a sack, and 94 tackles for a corner. That's pretty amazing.
That is impressive.
Taron Johnson, he just balled out. I mean, for a guy that isn't talked about heavily in the Buffalo circles as far as the media goes and whatnot, Taron Johnson is a name to know and to keep an eye on going forward.
Absolutely. So who else you got here after the Buffalo Bills?
So after the Bills, I got the
Taron
Miami
Johnson.
Dolphins. All right? The Miami Dolphins. Now, this team kind of gave me a little bit of problem because there's a lot of names that people came accustomed to this season. Everybody heard of Tua through the draft, and he came in as a quarterback, and then that their star-studded secondary, with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard and all that, but I had to really dig deep on this one. I found the middle linebacker for the Dolphins, who doesn't really get talked about a lot, Jerome Baker. The middle linebacker, Jerome Baker for the Dolphins, balled completely out of his mind this season. He played in all 16 games. He started also just 11 games, but he had 3 pass defense, 2 forced fumbles, 112 tackles at the linebacking position, and 7 tackles for loss. The guy was played out of his mind, so he is another underrated player in my mind for the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely. I like it. I like the pick.
Yeah,
there.
so far so good, right? So now we move on to the Patriots. I know. Cam, the whole experiment failed for New England. Didn't work out well, but if you caught our show before the season started, we kind of called that happening. So
I hate to say I told you so.
I know, right? Hate to say it, but we're going to say it. Told you so. But yeah, for the New England Patriots, for my underrated player, now this is a guy who, as the season grew, he started to be talked about, like towards the tail end of the season. But J.C. Jackson, the cornerback for the Patriots, remember that name. He's going to cash in big this offseason, I feel. He's looking for a big deal because not only did he play in all 16 games, he only started in 11. Now, check this out. Only started 11 games, but he had 9. That's right, 9 picks and 14 pass defense. You weren't throwing the ball his way. So, I mean, huge season for J.C. Jackson. Definitely is a up-and-coming player as a shutdown corner. And keep your eyes peeled on either where this guy he may test free agency, but you know the Patriots don't want to let this guy go with a guy with that much talent. So we'll wait and see how all that unravels. But J.C. Jackson for the Patriots is another underrated player for me.
Yeah, I mean, he could be still considered under the radar. I know a lot of people they're on the radar. He's on the radar now. I mean, you've noticed him. He started picking up last year, but then this year doing it again, and maybe showing that he is that next guy to step up and take the helm for some of those older guys now that they've been dealing with.
But that's the thing. He's going to test free agency if they don't sign him to a big deal.
Absolutely.
And we know the Patriots aren't used to shelling out big money to guys. So that'll be interesting to see. And there'll be plenty of suitors for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Last but not least for the AFC East, the New York Football Jets. I have linebacker. Now, check this out. Neville Hewitt. Anybody hear of Neville Hewitt? I know. I mean, personally, what? I didn't hear of this guy until I started to really dig into the Jets roster and looking at some of the game film. But Neville Hewitt, he played in all 16 games. He started all 16 games. Yeah. Had 4 pass defense at the middle linebacker position. He had 2 sacks. He had 134 tackles.
Wow.
Guy was a tackling machine for the Jets. And 6 tackles for loss. So for the AFC East, there's your 4 players, 1 from each team. Buffalo Bills corner Teron Johnson, Dolphins linebacker Jerome Baker, Patriots corner J.C. Jackson, and none other than Jets linebacker Neville Hewitt as your 4 guys coming out of the AFC.
Here we go. That's right. You know, I'm a New York Giants fan, so you know I got to cover the NFC East. And it's kind of tough to find that under the radar player in this whole division here because there was a whole lot of production, you know, with a lot of these teams here. So I had to dig deep with some of them. Some other ones, you kind of know these guys, but they're definitely some up-and-coming players or some guys, you know, just making a difference where they're put. For the Washington football team, I've got Logan Thomas out there, the tight end. Kind of came on the scene for everybody. He's been with 5 teams so far, so he's had a bit of a career. Since now, hasn't been a true starter, was even a quarterback in college, now made tight end, 670 yards this season with 6 touchdowns. Before that, on any other teams, he was with Detroit. He was, I think, drafted by Arizona. Again, never given a sniff of a chance. Comes in here with Washington when they needed somebody else besides Terry McLaurin. Tight end, Logan Thomas steps up. Now he's kind of a household name amongst people here for Washington.
Yeah, for sure. Logan Thomas, he was definitely a long-term project because when he came into the league initially, he was drafted from Virginia Tech as a quarterback, came into the league, was a backup for a couple, 2-3 years, and teams started to ask him, would you consider playing tight end? He made that conversion over to tight end, and it's been a while for him to start to show some promise, but he's been team to team, was with the Cardinals, didn't really like they didn't really give him the full
you
know,
couldn't
football
get a starting
enough.
job, basically.
They didn't give him enough opportunity, is what it was. So when he ended up going to Washington, we all know Jordan Reed. He was on injury week after week. They moved on from him. Here comes Logan Thomas. Now Logan Thomas is finally getting a real opportunity, and he's showing you what he can do with it.
Absolutely. All right, that brings up my New York Football Giants, and I'm going with Leonard Williams as under the radar player, the D tackle.
Really?
Yeah, just because. Again, he's a guy that didn't really show. He showed a little bit last year. Wasn't very productive with the Jets so much that they would let him go. Goes to the Giants. They signed him to the franchise tag because this, even after last season, wasn't doing like spectacular. This year, he stepped up his game. He's got 1 forced fumble, 57 combo sacks or tackles, 30 hits, and he mustered up 11.5 sacks. So that was his biggest year yet, best year of his career. So that was big here, too, for him to get that deal. And I'll admit, I was a Leonard Williams hater. And so I kind of changed the script here for me.
I'll say, I've always been a Leonard Williams fan. Even coming out of USC, I thought this guy was going to be an amazing D tackle for whoever got him. The Jets got him. He did pretty darn good for the Jets. He didn't have as good of a year as he did this past season, but he's always been a household name, especially for the Jets. Coming over to the Giants, didn't play extremely well for them the first year he's with the Giants. You're right, but he has Pro Bowl numbers. You can see what he can do for your team on the D line. So for me, Leonard Williams was not even a question of being one of those guys that are out there and making his name known. Now, can he cash in this offseason?
Well, it's funny because
that's going to happen.
For that edge rusher, who was the edge rusher? They had him here. The guy rushing the quarterback on the interior line. It was pretty amazing that they had found that guy, within the system that they had. But is he just a flash in the pan and get that bigger deal signed, and then it's gonna go back in the shell? I'm not so.
No,
sure
I don't think so. Because he through his career with the Jets, even like he had admirable numbers, so he was always in play.
Yeah.
But you know what? You got to have players around players.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the only way it makes it better.
I don't think anybody was banking on him being the sack leader on his team.
Not at D tackle.
No,
your D tackle.
That's what I mean.
Like that's the craziest thing is when D tackles get double digit or close to double digit sacks. That's Pro Bowl level. That's ridiculous. So he's going to cash in. Now, can the Giants agree on
the other hand,
terms?
Evan Ingram makes the Pro Bowl, and I don't know why. He had, I think it was like 600 yards receiving, which was fine.
And he had about 650 drops this season, too.
Yeah, so,
that's the last stat that I saw. So,
yeah.
But Leonard Williams, this is going to be big for the Giants because now that he's going to have the right to command more, to be up there in that kind of talk of not at Aaron Donald level, but below that number. That's going to be a large number. Will the Giants agree to that, or will they see him off into the sunset, and will he test free agency?
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Now with the Dallas Cowboys. It was tough to kind of find here because I know a lot of, I think even, I forget what writer it was for I think it was Nick Shook for the NFL.com, had said CeeDee Lamb was his under-the-radar player, which I didn't think. I mean, I can understand maybe a rookie coming in, making a 900-yard season, but I didn't want to go that route.
The only thing that I would say about CeeDee Lamb is underrated to me means not known.
Not known.
And they were productive.
Yeah. So,
CeeDee Lamb was highly touted coming out of college.
Right. And Dallas fans are already putting him in the Hall of Fame, so we know that. So they knew. All right, but anyways, Donovan Wilson, I went with the strong safety. This is his second year. Last year, didn't even get a sniff of a starting job. Played in about 10 games. His first time starting, and he comes in and he has 2 INTs, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries on that, 3.5 sacks, and 73 combo tackles here.
All right.
So really being productive in that starting safety position to where, they were even talking about looking to go get Earl Thomas, in the offseason before last season and things like that to fill in spots. And they had a guy right here they had already drafted, stepping up on a really bad defense, let alone, but making plays where it needed to be done here for the Dallas Cowboys.
And now it becomes the point the finger game. They fired Mike Nolan as the D coordinator. He's no longer the Cowboys D coordinator, and they pointed all the blame on him, saying, it just didn't work out. Was it the talent on the football field? It can't be some of the guys that were already there. You look at a guy like Jalen Smith, and you look at a guy like Van Der Esch, and all those guys. Those are Pro Bowl players. So it can't be them specifically, but maybe as a whole, the team just never gelled and never came together with that type of defense. Now we'll see. They hired another D coordinator. We'll see if that was really the reason why the
it's tough to
struggled.
see, especially if you look at the numbers, what the defense, what it was with that defense. Because some of these guys still made. Because when I was looking through it, I had to focus on the defense because offensively they still did fairly well. Even Andy Dalton, when you look at it and things like that, I mean, he looked better than Daniel Jones did, this season. Surprisingly enough. So, and their offense was still clicking, better than what their defense was doing. So it was tough to find out where it was. I think injuries part of it too. Again, Van Der Esch can't stay on the field, and he's a big play. Injured. He's a big part of their defense too as well. But he even kind of was productive for when he was out there. So I went with Donovan Wilson.
I like that.
Young kid,
that pick.
under the radar.
I like that pick, but I'm going to add to that.
Go ahead. What do you got?
The tight end, Schultz.
Yeah.
I think he was an underrated player this year. And when Dak was there, he heavily relied on Schultz, and Schultz panned out for them. So let's see what happens with Dak Prescott. We assume he's going to be staying with the Cowboys, and if he does, watch out for Schultz to have a breakout year next year.
All right, here we go. And finally, with the Philadelphia Eagles, this was very tough to find out. And again, I mean,
I know you hate these guys.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. Under radar player, I almost went with Greg Ward because he got the most targets that he's gotten his whole career.
Right.
He ended up having only like 500 yards receiving again, but stepped up from what he's normally used to. So he did, he was very productive. But it could have been just the way how bad this offense was and lack of weapons are all around. Deshaun Jackson goes down early. He's not even part of it.
Yeah, that guy can't stay healthy.
And this might be a little obvious too in a sense, but again, this guy, second year in his career, again, starting in the linebacker, Alex Singleton gets 120 tackles. That's the lead. That's their team leading. 2 sacks only. But again, a fumble recovery, 2 fumble recoveries, and a pick 6. On your basically first year starting at linebacker. I think it was very productive, getting things done to where it needed to be here. And again, and a no-namer. Because I was trying to find guys, because you had your other guys there, too, that were still making plays on the defense that you know about. So it's trying to find
Cox
a guy that still led the team in tackles and basically his first time starting and still making some plays here and there on the field, too,
I like that pick, too. And that's the thing is they were hurt in the linebacking core. They lost a lot. This past offseason, they lost, I believe, 2 starters to free agency, and they needed to find some replacements. So Alex Singleton, he comes in, and he just balls out. So, I mean, hey, he doesn't have glorious stats, but he has very productive stats for a guy that's not really not a big name at all. And probably most likely, unless you're an Eagles fan, a diehard Eagles fan, you have no clue who Alex Singleton is.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our under-the-radar players for the AFC and NFC East. Joe, let's take it away to the West here.
Going AFC West, baby. Let's go. All right, so we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Kansas City Chiefs, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of players that people know and are well known throughout that roster because they're publicized every single week. We know all the big names. But there's a guy that I took this for the Kansas City Chiefs is a rookie, actually. I went with L'Jarius Sneed, the cornerback that they drafted. They brought him in. Now, listen, reason why I picked him is because in terms of productivity for a guy, not only being his first year as a rookie, but played in 9 games and only started 6 of them, he ended up with 3 interceptions, 7 pass defense, and 2 sacks at the cornerback position. So he didn't even play in all the games. He started in 6 of them and had those kinds of stats already. Now, just imagine what a guy like L'Jarius Sneed is going to be able to do next season. If he can stay on track and get better in the offseason, this dude could be a breakout player come next season. Now, I almost said Oakland Raiders. For the Las Vegas Raiders.
There we go.
Las Vegas
Jack
Raiders.
Daniels kicking in
a little bit kicking in. The Las Vegas Raiders, I had a guy that's not really well known around league circles, but linebacker Nicholas Moreau. Played in 14 games, started 11 of them, had a pick at the linebacking position, 9 passes defensed, 3 sacks, 78 tackles, and 8 tackles for loss at that linebacker position for the Raiders. So a guy that doesn't really get talked about hardly at all, but is starting to emerge as one of those starting caliber players that you can rely on week to week. So, and another little nugget on Moreau. Moreau's due to be a free agent. So if the Raiders don't try to hold this guy back in and get him signed, he could possibly be going to another team in need and playing very well for them. Next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers, I have a cornerback. Nope, it's not one of the starters that you're thinking of. It's not Casey Howard. But it is Michael Davis. Michael Davis, a cornerback for the Chargers, lit it up this past season, everybody. 16 games played in all 16, started 14 of them, had 3 picks, 14 passes defensed, and 2 tackles for loss at the cornerback position. Very productive season for my man Michael Davis. So I can only hope for the Chargers. I hope the Chargers aren't going to lose him to free agency because he's another very productive player in that secondary. You add Derwin James to this defensive group if he can stay healthy, and oh my God, lights out, right?
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, for the AFC West, the Denver Broncos. I had a hard time with this one, not going to lie, because there was a few players on this roster that all could be deemed worthy of the underrated player. But I went with D-tackle, Draymond Jones. Who the hell is that? Well, I'll tell you who that is. That's a D-tackle that played for the Broncos that played in 13 games this season. Started only 8 of them, so only half the season he started, and had 3 passes defense at the D-tackle position. He had 6.5 sacks at the D-tackle position. That's crazy. And 11 tackles for loss. So my man, Draymond Jones, put it on display. He put his talent all on display. He let everybody know that he is here to stay. He is here. He is deserving of a starting job. And my man can ball. So there you have it in the AFC West. We got those 4 underrated players, 1 player from each team. The Chiefs, cornerback L'Jarius Sneed, Raiders linebacker Nicholas Moreau, Chargers corner Michael Davis, and Broncos D-tackle Draymond Jones.
Yeah, I like it. Sneed especially, man. He's something special, definitely. All right, so that leads us to the NFC West. Again, a lot of highlight players on here, so I try to dig deep here because now with this one opposite to the NFC East, a lot of production, but a few players for each team here. As you can see, it was I think the Cardinals barely missed the playoffs here. Rams and Seattle were both in the playoffs. So I'm going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks first, and I have digging down deep. I got Benson Mayowa. All right, you might know him.
I love my guy Benson Mayowa.
He played 3 years with the Oakland Raiders.
Yep.
When they were Oakland, and then 2 years with Dallas, and now he's with 2 years with Seattle.
God, I'm disappointed that the Raiders let him go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So he only had 9 starts, but he had 6 sacks within those 9 starts as well, and a couple of forced fumbles here too as well. 18 hits on the QB too as well. So within those 9 starts, being very productive here, getting the tackles done and producing and getting a sack a game almost just about. So making some production despite having, Bobby Wagner, Jaron Reed, Jamal Adams, who lit it up this year too, and sacks. Oh my goodness, from the corner, safety from the safety position, blitzing from the outside corner area.
Yep,
just crazy. So to try and dig deep, I found him, a guy who his whole career hasn't really done anything, but within those 9 games, really made a difference here when he was out there. Now to the Los Angeles Rams, I've got Jordan Fuller, free safety here. He was drafted in the 6th round.
Oh, yeah.
So he wasn't really meant to do really much of anything like a filler spot. But now he's in there in the free safety position starting, and now he had 3 interceptions, 60 tackles within the 12 games he was there. And so he was making some plays happen for them. Again, under the radar, you hear about the Aaron Donalds, the Jalen Ramsey,
the big names.
And things like that happening. And, Michael Brockers. You don't hear about some of these other guys making plays here, getting it done here. I like him, too, as well here, under the radar for the Rams.
And the interesting thing, too, about the Rams is that this offseason, John Johnson III is looking to test free agency. So having a guy like that come in right now is huge, because if they happen to lose John, then that's going to leave another hole back there in the back end, but at least they have this guy to rely on.
Absolutely. And this might not be so much under the radar again, but still only a few years in the league and really stepping up to make that that defense that much better here for the Arizona Cardinals. But I got Hassan Riddick here stepping up and making that play. You know, when you didn't have Chandler Jones there, who is normally the sack leader in the NFL, and there in that face of that defense, Hassan Riddick slides right up in there and gets 12.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, and 63 tackles here as well to make plays here for the Arizona defense and help them achieve what they needed to.
Yeah, I'm definitely all on board with Hassan Reddick because despite him being in the league for a few years, here's the thing is like he was out for a complete season before.
Yeah, he was.
And for him to come back from that injury and then be implemented into a very a pass rusher like role like Chandler Jones was, for him to take over and carry that torch and for him to light it up with 12 sacks, 12 and a half or 12?
12 and a half.
12 and a half sacks?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. For a guy that's seen as more like just a plain old linebacker who can play against the run and the pass, for him to take over that pass rush role and be effective at it, that's a whole other story. So the Cardinals defense, they got some young pieces that they're utilizing. They got Isaiah Simmons, who's still got to grow over another offseason, but if they keep everybody intact moving forward, this Cardinals team could be dangerous.
Yeah, all right. That leads me last.
What do you got?
Leads to the 49ers again, who a team that was just, riddled with just injuries across the board. Not playing, very well too because of all of that, and
I'm gonna say it was basically because Jimmy G sucks.
It could be part of it there too. So I didn't go on offense because again there was a whole lot of production there. Not when your starting receivers show up the last few weeks of the season. Yeah, sadly enough, without even some of their starters there on defense. Yeah. Kerry Hyder makes a difference here at the tackle position.
Talk about
a guy you don't know about. Again, not a whole lot for what he's been there, but didn't play every single down and be in there in every single game. But he had 1 forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 8.5 sacks, and 50 tackles too on 18 QB hits as well. So he's getting pressure from the interior again, sort of what we talked about with Leonard Williams. Mm-hmm. And again, 8.5 sacks in that limited time being out there in the field and not really being a house name really out there. You know about Eric Armstead, and Bosa when he's out there, when he's healthy and things like that. Guy in the trenches, getting it done, getting that pressure up the middle on a team that basically when all those injuries hit weren't really looking to amount to anything and actually made some really tough outs there for a lot of teams and made a push at the end. So there you go. There's my players here for the NFC West.
That was a good selection for sure for the 49ers.
Yeah, absolutely. So next week we're going to do our under the radar players for the NFC North and South division. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun there too. So I can't wait.
Sure
for that.
will.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll throw
another
guy in the hat there for the 49ers. Is Dre Greenlaw, the linebacker.
Yep.
Guy that's not very talked about heavily. But when you got Fred Werner next to him, it's kind of hard to notice a guy like Greenlaw. But Greenlaw, a very productive linebacker, has ever since he's come into the league in 2019, he started to show an emergence of talent and show that he belongs in the NFL. Great player. Putting him next to Fred Werner, it's just going to make this linebacking core even better as they play, as they go.
Absolutely. So there you go. Under radar players. We've been doing that for a while now. Here we decided to do that here at the end of the season here. Yeah, underachievers. We've been doing things like that and overachievers. So a lot of fun to speculate some of that after the season.
You got that DJ horn handy?
Oh yeah, I think I do.
Because I just want to shout out one of our great know-it-alls is here watching the show is John Turner.
John Turner is in the house with us tonight.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Talking about Washington football team and things like
that.
Don't
bring that up. John,
yeah,
John doesn't like to talk about
yes, he does. He loves to talk about his football team. Took the division.
John,
he called it amongst everybody. So
here's the thing, John, is Washington football team, have you heard anything different about the Washington football team? If they're going to change the name for next season, or are they going to kind of keep it the same? Like I've heard different reports coming out.
They're going to stay with it, but yeah, I don't know.
Like I don't know what to believe. So maybe John has some insight. Maybe he can.
Yeah, he has
shed
his
some
finger
light
on the pulse out there, definitely. And again, a team that in a terrible division, they had, I think it was the number 2 ranked defense in the NFL.
Oh, my God, they're amazing.
Yeah, number 2 ranked defense. I think the Rams were number 1, so we covered both those teams here real quick. So kind of under the radar teams in a sense until the end when people started noticing them and what they're kind of doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what Alex Smith was doing on the field too, playing through the
injury
leg and everything, and when he was able to take the division.
He basically played.
Other teams were struggling.
He basically played on one leg at the end. If Father Time has called Alex Smith up already and said, "Hey, Alex, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we're gonna have to foreclose on your leg. We're done. It's time to end it." I feel bad for the guy because I think it's an amazing story for him to even be able to come back and play, but it's time. So what does Washington do from this standpoint now? Now they got to find the next guy. Kyle Allen is not the next guy. Let's be honest. He's not the next guy. So now is it going to be because they got this great defense right now, and all they really need to add is on offense they need to add some weapons for whoever's going to be throwing the football. You add a couple of weapons, and because you got Logan Thomas at tight end, he had a brilliant career year last season. You got Terry McLaurin, so that's something to build off of. And you got Antonio Gibson at running back, so that's something nice. Now strengthen the offensive line, add a couple weapons, and you still need a quarterback.
It's funny. I kind of ran this scenario by people too, because you could see he's kind of a little bit getting guys that he's familiar with. He grabbed Davis on defense.
Yep.
He grabbed Kyle Allen, things like that.
Right.
What's the other? Heineke was there too.
Panthers. Yeah.
So former Panthers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be kind of a
Curtis
kicker?
Samuel, here he
Wait,
comes.
No, not even Curtis Samuel. I know he didn't have a great year this year with the Patriots, and he's out there. What do you think about that? I don't think it's a good idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ron Rivera goes and says,
not say the name.
Cam, come on in, baby. Come on.
No way.
We need a quarterback. You're still fairly young.
Stop.
We will get your career resurged here. Come back on home with me, buddy, and we'll get it rolling. What does John Turner think about that scenario? I mean, because it could happen.
I think it just threw up in my mouth.
Oh, I bet. I know you did. But
that's terrible.
Stranger things have happened here.
I think they can take some different avenues.
There's a lot of different avenues.
Yeah.
I mean, do you still have the question about even what's going on with Deshaun Watson? Are they in the talks with that whole thing? We saw now finally, Detroit dealt Matthew Stafford over to the Rams, which I think they absolutely won.
What about the trade haul there?
I thought that was ridiculous.
Isn't it?
Is somebody high? Like when they go in here, these talks, do they get high?
Yeah, for some marijuana.
And just so everybody knows, we both love Stafford. We think the world of him. We think he's he could be a great quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. Could be great. However, he's 32 years old, everybody, and has a bad back. How healthy is that back going forward? We don't really know. The Rams are about to find out, but they just handed over not 1, 2 first-rounders, and a third-round pick, and a young quarterback in Jared Goff.
Man, this is some bullshit.
I have to agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely insane to me.
It's kind of a question mark,
For sure, right?
Yeah, because because that's always kind of been a narrative here with Jared Goff. It's like, can he not make the mistakes? Can he do this? Sean McVay is such a tactical mind. He's doing it all. He's even reading the plays before it happens, so Jared Goff doesn't do anything. And Jared Goff's always been like, come on, man, I do something. I got to read this. I got to do this. So then when he gets to trade, he's like, I'm going to be very excited to play for Detroit, a team that actually wants me, and things like that. And I think it'll be a good change of scenery for him. And now it's see what happens now that they have not new ownership, but new people running the office up there, and maybe they can get things going and moving forward here. I like Stafford, like you said.
Right.
I think he can be productive.
Yes.
But if you kind of put the two together now, yes, can he maybe get them further than they did?
Yes.
I can see that.
Yep.
But mortgaging your future, and the Rams have done this. And I don't know if since they since it's because of new ownership, or it seems to me since they went to the Super Bowl with McVay, it seems like the GM has been like, we're going all in. They went and grabbed Sue. They went and grabbed whatever hottest free agent was there. Do this, and trade away number one picks. Bam, 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 bam. They haven't had a number one pick in like 3 years, and now they're not going to have it for another 2 more, 3 more. That's
going
to
be 5 years running.
It's like, this is ridiculous. That's why, if they weren't even kind of in the talks. I told you a couple weeks ago when they were talking about Deshaun Watson that they were in the talks. They were trying to get Deshaun Watson.
Oh, they called Houston first.
They did, but now they're like, we got Matthew Stafford. Probably for the same price.
But the thing was, is they called Houston first, and they were like, that's too steep. We don't want to give up that much. So they ended up shifting gears, and they went a different route. So Matt Stafford comes in as a Rams quarterback, right? They gave up a ton to get him. But here's what this shows me. This shows me that whoever the GM is for the Rams is not in charge. It's Stan Kroenke. It's the owner of the Rams. Listen, he just moved the team to Los Angeles. He's looking to make a big splash. He feels like if he pulls off this trade and gets Stafford, that immediately projects them into the playoffs automatically. And it could. It could all work out for them, getting to the playoffs that way. However, and here's the other thing too, is Stafford is now going to have an actual team with weapons around him. And how long are they going to be able to keep everybody together? That's the other thing, is they made this they pushed all the chips to the middle of the table right now. And they said, we bring in Stafford, that makes us a playoff caliber team, possibly a Super Bowl team. So do you agree with that? Yeah, okay. Kroenke's like, yeah, let's do it. He does this. Now, if this does not work out, like they see how it should, Aaron Donald gets paid a ton of money. I think he's going to be due like something like $27 million this year, $25 million this upcoming season. That's a lot of money for one player, for a D tackle. And don't get me wrong, he is a great player. He's Hall of Fame. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame. You got Ramsey, who carries another heavy price tag. You got a bunch of players on this team that are all getting paid. Like, yeah, they got rid of Jared Goff, but they still are going to have to pay that dead money, regardless. So this shows me that they are pushing all the chips in for this coming season to make that Super Bowl push and try to win it right now. If they don't, it's a big fail, and then they might have to hit the reset button a lot sooner than they thought they would.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think, too, as well. They have a lot to bank on here with them.
Oh, 100%.
But who knows moving forward? We got a lot going on with those.
A lot going on.
But that's going to bring us to our next segment here, and that is our In the Know fact of the day.
Tell me, Jimmy, what we got for the fact?
Well, December 31st, 1967. That's when the championship was played back in the day, we like to say here.
Back in the day?
Dubbed by the sports media as the Ice Bowl. The Green Bay Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys 21-17 to win the 1967 NFL championship game. That's what it used to be called before it was called the Super Bowl here. The game time temperature at Lambeau Field was negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit with an average wind chill about negative 48 degrees.
It's
considered the coldest game in NFL history.
And negative 48 degrees.
And we just had, and that's why, first of all, that's our In the Know fact of the day.
There you go.
But
Finish it off.
That is why, even last week, our fact was first time they had an indoor game. That's why they switched it up, I think, because, again, to see the best out of all these players, are they going to be playing in this type of game?
I hope so.
Negative 48 degrees with the wind chill, this and that. And especially today's NFL, they don't want you to see anything like that. They want a game like they're hoping they're going to see this year. They're hoping they're going to see the defense kind of not play as well. Tampa maybe step back in defense and see Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes air it out. Let's go. I don't know if we're going to get a whole lot of that because these teams both have showed that they start off a little lethargic. It's going to be slow, grind it out a little bit. And then they can start to get it on and put up some points here and get kind of into the game. And that doesn't mean like Tom Brady needs to warm up. He's been in these games 1,000 times.
He's got to warm the joints up, though, a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you there. But, I mean, a game like that, and even they were able to play at their home field. So, I mean, imagine that where teams able to play at their home field. We get to see that this year as well.
Yeah, that's another big milestone, So now that the actual home team has made it to the Super Bowl, which happens to be at their home field, pretty amazing. However, the NFL has already announced that they are not going to allow the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to launch their cannons when they score, even though it's their home field. I get it. It's supposed to be a neutral playing field, and it just so happens that Tampa Bay made it, so they are not allowing them to shoot those cannons to keep it neutral, I guess.
Oh, boo. That's going to change the outlook of the game. You're like, no, they just fired cannons, That's not fair. I mean, what's that going to do? Like, seriously, you're like, it's like if they played in KC and they're like, you guys cannot do the tomahawk chop in the stadium. You guys
They're
can't
still
do
trying
that.
to outlaw that.
I know they are because, again, it's racially offensive and things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not Native American, so I wouldn't know about that type of thing and how offensive that might be. But I don't know. We shall see.
Do we have any Native American know-it-alls out there that might enlighten us?
Your input, but I don't know. So there you go. That's our no fact of the day.
That
here.
is the know-it-all.
So next up, we've got Super Bowl.
The day.
Super Bowl 55 coming up here with you guys.
Boy.
Here. That's right, 55.
Let's go.
The old LV.
I hate the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you guys with us here tonight. It is our drinking show. Joe is serving out his punishment here, and he's doing pretty good there. He's knocking it out. And
Listen,
going
after I got harassed by Albert Alvarez, you know who you are.
Yeah.
Last season, I think.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you need to drink more. So I'm getting through it now.
Yeah, you are. You're doing really well. I really appreciate it.
So-
And I started drinking too with it too.
Yes,
This thing
you
is
did.
funny because I'm not much of a drinker.
Yeah.
You
Neither
brought
one of
this
us
over
are.
to my house in the
did.
summertime. Luckily,
amazing.
it's still good, I think. But
I know.
this has been here in my refrigerator the whole time. That is how much I drink. So not very often.
It's
So
amazing.
This is a special occasion for all of us.
It's good. It is.
I'll try
We're
not to slur.
celebrating we're celebrating getting through the pandemic and actually having a football season.
Yeah.
All right, everybody?
Yeah, and really not really missing a whole step with some things. I mean, we
No.
had to cancel a few shows here and there, but we were there. We were here.
we were
We're
good.
and made it
Good.
through the pandemic, and
We did.
we're rocking and rolling. So that's right. So we're up to Super Bowl 55, and that brings us with Tom Brady here.
Oh, God.
That's right. There he is,
Ugh.
and against the man here, the myth, the legend, and
Would you stop?
there
Don't
he is.
feed
Look
into
at
the
it.
media
Yeah,
bias
yeah.
right
Yeah,
now.
It's what? It's there it is. It's the
God.
Super Bowl. It's Brady versus Mahomes, like everybody wants here. Yeah. So let's take a look at this narrative here. Tom Brady, he's made it, every season except for 2, I think, during his whole career, the last 20 years, to the playoffs, and now his 10th Super Bowl, I think it is, or so, something like that. I don't know how many. But
Really should have wrote that down.
yeah, I know. Whatever, because I didn't want to think I was going to talk about this a whole.
I
lot
wouldn't have
here.
brought it up.
But yeah, I mean, he's got the 6 rings now, or something like that.
6.
too.
He's got 6.
And now he's taken the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this is the thing. With
Oh, yeah,
Tom
let's
Brady.
talk about
See,
this.
guess
I
I'll
know where
go.
this is
What?
going.
You're gonna go. I'm gonna
I
go
know
into
where
my
this is
gripe.
going.
You know what? Yeah, it gets me. Well, you know what grinds my gears?
It really
you know?
grinds my gears.
It's Tom Brady. We've kind of picked on Tom Brady on this podcast and show ever since we started, I think.
Pretty much.
And it's not that I hate Tom
No.
Brady. Let's get it down here. Let's get it down with everybody.
I don't
here.
hate Brady.
I'm not a Brady hater. See,
I
messing
like
up more
that.
than you
That's
are.
something that I should say right
And
now.
I'm not even drinking. But
No,
not that
I'm
much.
doing pretty good,
but
actually.
It's the narrative. I appreciate Tom Brady for whatever he does here, and he has been able to win with the Patriots. They follow a certain scheme. They were meticulous with everything they did with training, keeping things out of the public. The hard work, making the next player step up, and bending ways around the rules to make things happen.
Yeah.
A quarterback that throws short routes, safe routes, that doesn't make mistakes. And now he's handed a team that had a bunch of different weapons, and that even wasn't good enough for him. Tom Brady had to go and get his own little Brady bunch. That's right.
He did.
He had to go and get
Yeah.
his buddy Gronk, and then he had to get
Yep,
AB, you know what I'm saying?
Yep,
and get these guys there, and then And
which
that
is funny.
Make a push there, and then now he makes it a Super Bowl, but it's all Tom Brady that did this, and he drove them to get there in that last game with his 3 interceptions.
No.
He drove them down to win this game, and now he's in. Now he can play and possibly win a Super Bowl with an AFC team and an NFC team,
which would be a record.
To break records again, which. Whatever everybody keeps bringing up, that really the only records he has that are numerous are team records, playoff wins, regular season wins, division championship wins. He had the touchdown record. I think he still lost it to Drew Brees again. I don't know. They're going back and forth, but he might have taken it back.
Right.
But that's basically it, and not a whole lot.
It's team wins.
And yes, I appreciate he was able to go there and be that guy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now too, because he does make less mistakes than Jameis Winston.
100%.
But even if you look at his play this year, it's only a little better than what Jameis Winston was doing, and he's on the downturn of his career. I think in this Super Bowl, you're going to not see the Tom Brady of old where you can bring him down to, and force the ball all the way down to get him into scoring range. On his own, he's got a list of weapons, and even that running game that Tampa Bay never really has had for, I'd say, about 6 years at least.
They haven't had it for a long time.
They haven't.
I would say longer than that.
Yeah, and they even had Dirk Cutter there, as their head coach for a while there. Who
that was
basically,
a train wreck.
Yeah, he has never had a running game at all.
No, he doesn't run.
He did it. He ruined it in Atlanta for you guys now too. All you Atlanta fans, you guys know it. You guys seen it.
Sorry, brother.
And
I know my brother's an Atlanta fan.
I bet, and that, you saw it there. So now they have a running attack too as well, and they have all these weapons. It makes sense that they be there and they get it done here. But the fact that everybody wants to give him all his credit and even greatest ever, I think we got to throw GOATs out. Everybody likes to put a label on things these days. And I hate to sound the old man again and keep my rant going. I'm going to pass it over in just a second
Grandpa.
here, Joe. But I'm tired. Let's just stop having the GOAT conversation here, right? Let's stop having the GOAT conversation.
Let's definitely stop having
it. Yeah. Let's just stop it. Yeah, the GOAT. Because everybody wants to put labels, like I said. This guy's good or this guy's trash. There's no good and trash. There's guys that's decent. There's guys that got good hands. The guy that plays zone. Guy that can't play man. This and this. Blah blah blah. Some can do both, but I'm just saying.
But sometimes you can find good things in trash.
Yeah, you can.
Sometimes.
I understand that.
Like garage sales.
I think Ricky Williams finds a lot of good stuff in trash.
I think he does.
He does. But
he's a good man.
The fact that, the greatest of all time, I think we need to relax on labeling some of these guys greatest players, greatest this, blah, blah. He might be one of the most, accomplished quarterbacks of all time. Give
100%.
him that. I agree.
100%.
I agree. But you can't say best player because he's not mobile at all.
No.
He wasn't that great at deep ball. He can throw it there. But again, can't exactly connect, so he airs it out there, so he hopes for a pass interference, which he gets most of the time.
Right.
He is about 0-7 or 8 on high fives to refs. Again, and just kind of very stationary. I mean, so he's kind of a single type of player here. Most accomplished, I'll give him that, and a great passer, mostly accurate too as well.
That's it.
I'll give him that.
Yeah,
but
in his prime,
he's the
definitely.
Best, be all, end all. I don't see it.
No.
All right, I'm done.
And are you done now? Are you
I think.
completely done, you think?
Yes.
I think I could find a way to light a fire and get you going again.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, let's be honest, everybody. And everybody keeps bringing up Tom Brady's got 6 Super Bowls and he's the best ever. And that's got to stop. He's not the best ever. And this is what I've always have said. I've always said that there's no one player that you can pick out at any position and say they are the best ever. Because why? Because there are too many different eras that players have played in. Mm-hmm. There's too many different the rule changes alone. Look at currently. How many rule changes have the NFL gone through since the 1960s? Like, think about that. That changes the game completely. So you can't sit here and say, oh, well, A lot of people will say Jim Brown is the best running back. Some people might say Emmitt Smith is the best running back. Some people might say Earl Campbell is the best running back. There's a lot of different opinions, and that's what makes talking about football and sports great. But all in all, I'm sorry, you cannot individualize a team sport and say it's Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. It's not. Listen, Tampa already had this team intact. Already had it intact. They just needed a quarterback to not make mistakes. And that's what they got in Tom Brady. They brought in Tom Brady to have a quarterback who's not going to make mistakes, and that in turn is going to make them win a hell of a lot more games, and now you see them in the Super Bowl. So that's really the bottom line. Let's not make it more than what it is. I mean, when you come in as a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes, hell, I would take a healthy Alex Smith on this Tampa Bay squad, and they would still make the Super Bowl. That's all they needed was a guy not to make the mistakes. So now that they have him, you got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans,
right.
You got Rojo, Ronald Jones III. You have Leonard Fournette at running back. You have Cameron Brate. You got Rob Gronkowski at tight end. You got all these guys, all these weapons.
Yeah, O.J. Howard.
And the offensive line is good.
Yeah.
So you got no excuse to not make it to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then on top of that, you bring in Todd Bowles at D coordinator. This defense that they've put together, they got 2 shutdown corners.
That's where they needed help. Because that's the thing.
Right.
That's what we knew about the narrative
The
for
secondary.
the last couple of years.
The secondary.
That's where they need help.
For sure. And they got it there. They also got it at safety,
Antoine Winfield.
Thank you,
Yep.
because I just forgot his name.
So
Antoine
years you
Winfield
saw-
Jr. We were, and again, if you checked our draft show out, we would have pinpointed Antoine Winfield Jr. and say this guy's going to be a stud. Sure enough, he's a stud. So they got all that secondary help that they needed. They also got linebacking core help. Their linebacking core is really good right now. Their defensive line that they have assembled is a pass rushing D line that does not let up from start to finish. That defense is really good. So, again, I would tell you, this defense, this offense, these Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this roster are legit, and they were ready to win. They made it to the Super Bowl not just because of Brady, but because they finally got a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes, and that's why they're there right now.
Right, and you're tired of seeing Levante David just doing it all himself, basically. And then, Shaq Barrett stepping up last year, getting it done too. Well, and now, again, filling in spots. The corners, Winfield in the safety position. That makes it all sense, and that's what helps them get there to the Super Bowl as well.
And oh my God, now the jack is kicking.
Yeah, there you go. That's what. Yeah, I haven't even drank that much, and I'm ready to go. I'm going quick. But we got Brian Barrett's in the house with us tonight.
What's up, Brian?
Know it all's up in here.
I forgot to share the.
Oh, you forgot to share it? What to his group?
Page.
That's fine because I just saw. I got notified because I just joined that they went live. They were giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey.
Yes.
So if you guys know, I don't remember the name of their page, but you can definitely promote it out here, Brian.
My mind is not sharp right now.
It's something like
it's something
signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yes.
Memorabilia.
Yeah, there you
like
go.
That.
You got it.
So is that it?
You got it. That's it.
Yeah, did I
That's
get
it.
All right, I got
it. Signed, sealed, delivered memorabilia.
All right, there
we
go. Right.
Everybody watching, if you want to head over to signed, sealed, delivered memorabilia page, that is the place to be because
absolutely.
right now, there's only 2 spots from the last time I checked that open for the Saquon Barkley autographed Saquon Barkley jersey. It is a raffle. It's
just
a
gave
drop.
it away. I couldn't hear it because it was on mute.
All proceeds are donated, so it's not like it's not a scam or anything like that or anything. I'm involved in it. I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you head over there to sports. Was it signed, sealed, and delivered memorabilia page?
Went off at 21-1. Whoever had 21. I don't think you had 21, Joe.
21?
Yeah. Did you?
Damn it. Can you take the 2 off the front?
Yeah, he had 1, didn't you? You had 1.
I did.
There you go. All right, we've got we've got Swervo is in the house with us again tonight.
Whoa.
He said he only has a few minutes here with us, so we'll try and roll through his question here quick.
I like it.
He has a few minutes. He says, I wanted to stop and say hi, and what do you guys think about the Stafford for Goff trade? We talked about this earlier. No problem, Brian out there too as well. We talked about this earlier. I know you probably missed it, but we think the Rams gave up way too much. And the Rams, to sum it up quick for me, they've been doing this consistently since they made that run and made it to the Super Bowl. It seems like they've been trying to push to get there every single year, making big-time moves and trading away valuable picks. And now it seems like they've gone all in, and now they've basically suspended their future here to try and have Matthew Stafford take them to the Super Bowl, which I think he can do better for them than Goff was.
For sure.
He's a bit of a step up. But again, you think about the injuries that Matthew Stafford has had, and they're in a tough division even too. And in the NFC, it's tough. So
but I will say,
bank your future on this one thing, it's pretty crazy, and I think the Lions won in that trade.
But, I mean, that's the thing is, like, bottom line, yes, the Lions have won in terms of compensation.
I think
absolutely. Because not only did they get a replacement at quarterback in Jared Goff, who happens to be younger, but also they got 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. So they definitely won the trade. But what the Rams are thinking is like, hey, it's worth trading all that. Because if we get Stafford, and if Stafford can stay healthy, now listen, he's behind a better offensive line with the Rams. He's got more weapons with the Rams. So there's a lot to like there if you're Matt Stafford right now. And quite possibly, they are done. Stan Kroenke is no longer allowing the GM to run the team. You can see this because that's the only reason why this thing got all done, said and done. So now what they're saying is like, okay, this move right here is going to catapult us to not only the playoffs, but now probably Super Bowl contention. And if Stan Kroenke and the front office completely agree on that, that's why they made this trade, and that's why they're pushing all their chips to the middle of the table, and they're saying, you know what, we need to win right now. Because why else would they do this trade? First of all, when they had a younger quarterback like Jared Goff, like let's face it, Matt Stafford is better. He's an upgrade compared to Goff. He just is. Now, can he stay healthy throughout the year? That's another big question mark. And if he does, maybe, just maybe it makes them that much of a difference to get them to be a winning football team and get them in there. But this is a crazy thing. So if this doesn't work this upcoming season, you know, after the offseason and then we get into, 2022. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
time
how
is
about
flying. But we get into 2022 and they make their push and they fall short. This trade, everything about it is going to go right down the toilet because then you're going to see this team implode. They're going to have to hit the reset button. There's going to be a lot of problems because they've already are paying a boatload of money to guys like Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and company and so forth. So Leonard Floyd is a new addition to this Rams defense. He's going to be looking to get paid. So there's a lot of variables that are in play right now, and that's why Kroenke, I feel like, is a little bit desperate at this point and saying he needs to win now.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Who knows? I don't know.
Don't talk to me like that,
I didn't think
Vader.
they were going to do very well this year. They kind of surprised me in a sense. But, again, we'll see. They throw their whole chips in there. Cam Akers looks good at the running back position, too. And then also you got Henderson. Yeah. If they could keep all those guys, that nucleus together, too, looks pretty good.
So we got a couple of know-it-alls watching. Just want to do some shout-outs here.
All right.
Not only do we have John Turner, but we have Josh May watching. We have April, May, June watching, and Brian
all 3
Barrett.
months?
That's right. All 3 months.
Wow.
Early.
I like it.
April, May, June.
On early. I like
it.
Man, I like it.
Let's go.
Awesome. Excellent. We appreciate you guys joining in with the show. We already talked about our under-the-radar players, too. Any under-the-radar players you guys think were out there, too, let us know.
Yes.
Anything else you guys want to bring up, too? I know Swerve always joins us with here and brings up some good
Swervo
questions
Gaming.
and stuff
Thanks
like
for
that you
joining
guys
us,
have out
bro.
there. It's always a good time when Swervo joins us. Brian Barrett, pleasure having you here tonight.
And the
It is
longer
Joe's drinking show. I'm drinking, too.
The longer you keep the show going, the more hammered I'm going to become.
And then I got to try and keep this. I'm trying to go for it. I got the 3-peat, Joe. I got the 3-peat. I'm going for a 4 next year. If I can take you down 4 years in a row, I think it'd be great. I get to be the start of a dynasty. What do you think of that?
Could be until I kill you.
Yeah.
That's the end of that.
Oh, man. That's rough. That's rough stuff, Joe.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Well,
you
anyways,
sure did.
All right, here we go. All right, so we got the Super Bowl 55 coming up. We already talked a bit about and griped about Tom Brady, and we had our moment there.
Let's talk more about the Chiefs now.
Now let's talk about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Again, I always kind of and down on their defense a little bit. I like certain key players that they have there.
Yeah,
making
for
plays
sure.
For them. Again, but they are leaky. They can still get scored on.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense has so many weapons, they can just score at will, whatever they want. It just seems like at times they kind of rest up and play it like a boxing match. Rest like it's a way almost like De La Hoya kind of played. Kind of sit back and chill, keep it in there, get some points scored, and then it's ready to turn it on. He just turns into the next level and kicks it in. Mm-hmm. And that's what these guys do. And I think how this game's going to kind of come out like that too as well. I don't think each team is going to light each other up early. I think it's going to wear each other out a little bit and then step up the points. And I still think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game on both sides. Even though Todd Bowles and his defense, I think 4th or 5th ranked defense in the NFL, has been playing good, especially the last couple of weeks here in the playoffs. I think it's going to even out in this playoff system here. And I've knocked Patrick Mahomes, too. I mean, again, because I know media wants to paint narratives for these guys all the time. Future Hall of Famer, face of the franchise, all this stuff. He's on all the Progressive commercials or whatever it is, State Farm. And
it's the Patrick Price.
The Patrick Price, whatever. I would have liked to see the State Farm Bowl, though. That would have been cool. But anyways,
it would have been cool.
He still makes mistakes. You know what I mean? He's not perfect. He's
he
not
does.
this guy that's just amazing. But he is been playing well.
Yes.
Does well, and he's as scary as that he's only getting better. And right now, if you look at the two sides, he is on the upside of his career. That's the thing. When you look at this game, Tom Brady, he's on his kind of last, I think, hurrah kind of tribute show here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the end of the circus show for Tom Brady.
Yeah. Everybody knows that Kiss probably wasn't as good as their 5th or 6th farewell tour.
Good God,
as they were
terrible
back in 1978.
Can we just say that they were terrible? I mean? I'm sorry.
All the Kiss
fans out there,
dude?
They're terrible. They just flat out terrible. They have like 2 really big hits, but they're just terrible. I had to leave the concert because of how bad they were. They're just terrible.
Yeah, maybe because you saw them maybe 5 years ago or something like that. I'm
talking
about a legend.
That.
Yeah, but still, dude, Kiss, they're like legends in rock. You know, just like if you want to say,
they got legends from their costumes.
If you want to put up like bands like now that are playing and you know like the way they do some of the riffs in songs in general compared to what Black Sabbath was back in the day, there's going to be a difference. But you know what? You wouldn't have some of those bands if you didn't have Black Sabbath and things like that. If you didn't have Kiss, you wouldn't have some of the bands that are out there now and playing some of the riffs that they have there. Are you out of your mind?
No, I'm not out of my mind. Kiss is garbage.
Badgers are just crazy.
You're crazy, dude. You're out of your mind. Anyways,
Tyrann Mathieu's crazy.
Let's talk about football. I'm done with that. All right. I'm just going to ignore you just said that, okay? All right, whatever. But
Kiss sucks.
Anyways, let's talk. If you want to relate Kiss then with Tom Brady, then I might agree with you there. Then. So, yeah, but we're talking about Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. What do you see in this matchup, Joe?
Well, here's the thing. It's not just Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Kiss sucks. But Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, they're not the team. They're not everything about this Super Bowl. It's the team. So when you break it down to the teams and what they have and what they don't have, look at the Chiefs, for example. We didn't talk enough about the Chiefs, so I know you did, but I got to talk about the Chiefs now.
You should.
So Tyrann Mathieu's an X factor for this defense. He's the guy. He's the captain. He's the backbone of this defense. Mm-hmm. He gets everybody in line. He makes plays by himself. He puts people in position to make plays. He is the key for the Chiefs defense, hands down. Not even a question. The other proponent to this defense is Chris Jones at D tackle. The guy is just a madman. You have to double team this guy every down. Otherwise, he's going to be eating your quarterback in the backfield. Or running back for that matter. And Frank Clark had another really good season this year, and he's another guy you need to be concerned about. Linebacking core, to me, honestly, that's where their weakness is. I'm not buying into the Anthony Hitchens resurrection from the Dallas Cowboys days, and now he's all of a sudden playing better. I'm sorry, just not buying it. But they got a lot of young talent, the Chiefs do. But again, just because you have young talent doesn't necessarily make them a better defense. So, yes, they do have holes. Cornerback is one of them. L'Jarius Sneed, I'm not sure when he got injured. I'm not sure if it was like season ending or if he may have a potential return for the Super Bowl. I'm thinking not because I haven't heard anything about him. But all in all, it's about Tyrann Mathieu, Chris Jones, and Frank Clark. If they can handle their position and get some production there, then that's what's going to catapult this defense to be even tougher to beat. Now, the Chiefs' offense, what do you say about them? They got a ton of weapons. Tyreek Hill is their speed guy. He's very physical. You got Travis Kelce, a tight end, a guy that seems to be the X factor. Now, I don't understand why when anybody prepares for the Chiefs, why they don't get the fact that like Travis Kelce is the guy in this offense. Yeah, Hill's the flashy guy. Hill's the deep threat. He's the guy that is going to threaten that deep field to get a quick touchdown or what have you. Or in the flat, like when they dump it off to him, in a screen or something like that. But Kelce's the guy that makes this offense run. And Patrick Mahomes looks for Kelce number one. He's his first read. He tries to get him the ball all the time. You need to have a guy capable of either defending him man-to-man, which is hard, or you need to have some kind of a defensive scheme where he's not going to be seen as open. And that creates Mahomes to start looking elsewhere. And when he does that, he starts to move the legs and breaks the pocket. That's the time to send the spy. You have to have a spy against Mahomes. And it's the craziest thing, the absolute craziest thing about playing the Chiefs is that the Raiders, of all teams, that shitty defense that the Raiders had, they were the ones that actually that were the few to beat the Chiefs. Yay! And they spied Mahomes. Why doesn't anybody blueprint that? So this Super Bowl, look for Tampa with Devin White at linebacker to spy Mahomes. If Mahomes breaks that pocket, you need to attack him. You need to get a sack. You need to make him throw the ball away. That's going to be the deciding factor. I don't think it's going to be about Mahomes versus Brady. I think it's going to be about Buccaneers defense versus Mahomes.
All right. Just going to bring that to a halt real quick. Swervo Gaming is in the house. He says, I didn't think I would be going for KC, but I really don't want Tom Brady to win again. And that's kind of where I'm at, too, with this whole thing. It's like the lesser of two evils. I know I talked with Swervo about this a few weeks now. I did not want this to happen, but of course,
right,
the way my life is, they just want this to happen, and they just want me to bitch and complain all the time. Because that's what I'm good at, I guess, apparently. I just do that.
Yeah, it's good.
And then he says, LOL, what does Joe think about the Beatles, Joe? What do you think about the Beatles?
What about the Beatles?
Do you like them? Do you think they're terrible? I mean,
Beatles are the ancestors to all music.
All right, but Kiss isn't. I know there's
Kiss
a big
is
difference
garbage.
Between Kiss is garbage. Okay. Well, I'm not going to.
We're supposed to talk about football.
I know, but I'm just saying, when
about?
you talk about Kiss is not garbage. I mean, dude,
yes, they're
maybe
garbage.
if you look at it with simplicity and some of the things like, I know, and they overplay, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day, and that's all they basically say in that whole song.
I said what I said, and I stand by it.
But they took the song and made it the radio song, and that's what hit big or whatever. But they had a lot of good songs. They don't play them all the time, things like that. And within decades, be able to stay relevant through decades, I think makes a difference.
Kiss
you can
is
say
the
the same
Cleveland
thing
Browns.
with some of these other. No, because they haven't been able to stay relevant through decades at all.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
I would say they're like the Packers. I'd say like
No
the
way.
Kiss is like the Packers.
No
Gotta
way.
be. You were there in the beginning. You're there in the end, kind of right now. You're there. You know what I mean? You're one of the better ones that have lived through that time. You're still out there sticking your tongue out, metal.
Yeah, but that's
drinking
the thing.
blood.
That's the thing that they got away with is all the gimmicks, the costumes. That's what made them huge.
Oh,
and it wasn't musical talent. They're instrumentally they're terrible. Lyrically they're terrible. They can't sing on stage. It's blasphemy of rock.
Oh man,
Terrible.
I wanted to make.
I want to say
Unlike most
Jeffrey
politicians.
Domney is now in the house.
Who?
Jeffrey Domney is now in the house. He's watching right now.
Yes, awesome. It's
shout out
pleasure
to Jeffrey
having
Domney.
Yeah, shout out there. Definitely. Enough talking about Kiss and how they're not good and stuff. We're talking about the Super Bowl here, so let's stop getting all frustrated here. But anyways, Swervo here, he says, how do you feel about the game being at the Bucs home stadium? I think it's interesting. You knew what this was going to happen eventually. It almost happened with Minnesota. They were just a game shy of making it. It's kind of strange because isn't it weird? Like, I'm going to ask this to everybody out there. Isn't it strange how every storytime narrative kind of happens with Tom Brady? It's like he stepped into, like, the Lion Witch in the wardrobe and came out, and he's like the prince and shit. And then he sees the freaking girl. He gets that girl. You know what I mean? Wasn't amounted to nothing. Comes in there. He gets these champions. Comes here. He gets all the credit. You know what I mean? And now that's what I mean. Goes to the Buccaneers. Well, I'm going to help them play better. They have all these weapons. They make it, off of defense. He gets the credit for that.
Right.
They're going to be at home. But look, Tom Brady gets to play him at home. It's the first time that's ever happened. It's because of Tom Brady.
Right.
And this and this. And just like every storytime narrative has Tom Brady in it. He is Prince Charming. He is the guy that you just want to see freaking slash down in a freaking sword fight down. See the other guy win. I'm tired of it. I don't want it anymore.
I know you don't want it anymore, but here's the hard thing for.
That's what it is, though. I mean, like, what do you think about it? I mean, yeah, it might be cool that they're there, but and I think they're having healthcare workers mainly there, stuff from the Tampa area, from the KC area, and then others thrown in.
Robert Kraft sent a plane down with 76.
But all these people are going to be all over Tom Brady's Johnson and things like that. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's how it's good.
Tell us how you really feel.
The guys are about it. I mean, the media guys. Joe Buck is going to be all over it too. It's just.
But here's the thing:
it's
like,
all about.
It doesn't matter across the board. The media blows it way out of proportion. They have their own agendas. They have their own bias that they gotta report, and it's always about the quarterbacks. The Super Bowl, and here's the problem that I have. I'm kind of going a little bit off topic, but Hall of Fame. This is what everybody kind of throws at the Hall of Fame is like Super Bowl wins. That's what gets you into the Hall of Fame, right? So they're saying like, oh, well, Tom Brady, he broke records and stuff. So that alone should get Brady into the Hall of Fame. But then they're like, oh, but he won 6 Super Bowls. He's a shoo-in. Super Bowls are a team win. It's not individual. I'm sorry. It's just not. When Trent Dilfer wins a Super Bowl, does that make him a Hall of Fame candidate? I think not. Trent Dilfer was a terrible quarterback, but he won a Super Bowl, so does that make him eligible? No.
Boy.
It's absolutely insane.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't help it. It's out of control.
Well, I heard on DCR, too, Chris Canty actually admitted the whole Joe Namath thing to us, though. So because he was Broadway Joe, he isn't probably their best quarterback that the Jets have ever had, so I finally heard somebody openly admit something like that, so that was
okay.
Nice.
That's
so
good.
maybe we're turning around a little bit.
Everyone's coming back
He
around.
says about the Tom Brady thing. He says, yeah, and Eli is the guy who looks lost but beat him. It's very poetic. Great quarterback, but his face bugs me.
You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going to kill you. Give me $200.
When I look at your face, I just want to take one of these.
Well, yeah, that's what Swervo. If he saw Eli in person, that's what he said. So who knows? Maybe that's it. But
yeah,
I mean, it did happen twice, and it was my team, so that was very exciting, and I was happy about that.
Yeah.
It was nice. So that is poetic.
With guys like David Tyree at receiver and Mario Manningham and
but still, even on that, in some of those plays, the one was good because it was the interception by Chase Blackburn on Tom Brady that sealed the deal.
I like Chase Blackburn. I remember him.
Yep, and then the drop pass by Wes Welker in that the first Super Bowl. Look, you finished it within the show. You were doing a great job, buddy.
Albert, I hope I made you proud.
I really appreciate that, buddy.
I really appreciate
a really
you.
Good job.
And Mr. Jack Daniels.
There you go. I like
really
it.
Appreciate him.
Excellent. You did a very good job. But yeah, hopefully we can see it happen again. Like Swervo said, I'm not excited that it's going to have to be Patrick Mahomes here and the Chiefs, but whatever. If we're going to usher in a new era and the way these guys are playing, I mean, we said it before the season started, the teams that have been together the longest, that you really solidify and you didn't have a lot of turnaround, we're going to be there at the end. Chiefs are there. They have basically the same personnel that they had with extra weapons. Clyde Edwards-Helaire out there, he's been battling the injury bug here and there.
He's going to be
able to play too, and he's been electrifying there in the backfield too. But it's great because they've even been able to get Damian Williams back in there too a little bit in some play too, at a few plays.
And just so everybody knows, was it LaShawn? What's his name?
Well, LaShawn McCoy.
LaShawn McCoy is probably going to retire after this year.
Yeah, probably. So he's hoping to get one and get out.
Yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, you can almost guarantee he's done.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of that going through, there's a lot of narratives to be played here. But
So one thing I want to ask you is, okay, now that we've talked about both teams,
sure,
who do you got winning the Super Bowl?
All right, we're going to just wrap it up here.
No, I'm just spitballing here.
Spitballing. Let me see who I got winning.
Yeah, who do you think is going to end up the winner
in the playoffs
of the Super Bowl?
so far? I've just going with my heart the whole way. I've looked at numbers here and there. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a lot of picks right in the playoffs, obviously, but there's things I want to see. I want to see happen, and they just don't happen here. And now I'm stuck with what I have here. I could care less. I mean,
so you don't care either way.
The thing is, I don't not care. I really hate – I wish if this could end in a 0-0 tie and nobody wins, I would be ecstatic right now. I would be so freaking happy right now, So that's what I'm hoping for, but I don't think that can happen. So I'm going to have to go with the lesser of two evils like Swervo said here.
Yeah.
And I have to go with the Chiefs here.
Okay.
I think they have enough firepower to win, though. If you want to try and break it down with X's and O's, you're saying if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what they have on defense and then what they have on offense.
Forget about heart.
Right.
I need you to pick who you think is going to win.
I think the Chiefs are going to win because they can put up points faster than the Bucs can.
Okay. Now
they just need their corners not to hold, and get that pass interference because that's the only way the Bucs are getting in it. That's the only way Tom Brady can get the games back into play is throw a deep ball that's semi-covered and a defender's there out of position, tugs on the guy, pass interference. That's the only way he gets it down there.
So
he cannot do it.
Here's the thing, and this is what it is. Now, if you take it and look at the Chiefs' defense, they got holes.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay's offense, they got a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
They're going to find the holes.
You can't throw it to every single guy.
Sure you can.
No, you can't.
They're going to find the holes, and they're going to throw it to the players that are open. And then as far as the Tampa Bay defense, they're a more complete defense than the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if they game plan it just right, they're going to create some problems for Mahomes. I think this is going to be a really good Super Bowl.
He's going to get out of plays and make it happen. Tom Brady, he's stationary.
I think you're putting way too much into Mahomes.
Blitz, like they did, the Chiefs did against the Bills, then Tom Brady's done. He's not going to get it out there.
That's not what it's going to be.
Well,
because it's going to be a whole new – both teams are going to have to feel each other out in the first quarter.
You have to fear the run with that. They didn't fear the run with the Bills.
Yeah, now they're going to. Chiefs' defense is one of the worst defenses against the run. Guess what? Tampa Bay has not one but two running backs that can run the rock. So they are going to utilize that and be more of a balanced offense that's going to keep the Chiefs' defense on their heels. I think this is going to be a great Super Bowl. I really do. I don't like either team more because Tampa Bay has Tom Brady on the team. I'm not going to lie. I don't really like that, man. Mm-hmm. But I'm taking my bias and push it aside. Mm-hmm. But this should be a really good game. It should be a hard-fought game between both teams. Me, myself, I have Tampa Bay really – shut the fuck up. I have Tampa Bay beating the Chiefs by a field goal. I think it's going to be a close game.
All right. Yeah, I think it's going to be close, too. It's going to get I think what everybody wants, they're gonna give
me your shot glass.
What, you got a shot glass? I'm gonna do Jack Daniels. Ugh.
Yes, you are.
I hate Jack Daniels.
Well,
I have my Jameson right here.
Then put your Jameson in there.
My Jameson in there. All right. If anybody's out there, and if they are drinking too, or if you're near some alcohol, let's just do it all together.
Let's do it.
As
the
a
end
family
of the season.
know-it-alls here. We're all know-it-alls. All right. I'm gonna fill it up all the way too this time, Joe.
That's good.
That's good.
Cheers, bro.
That's a full double. All right. Cheers, everybody.
Dave Rourke is now
Dave
watching.
Rourke is in the house with us. Dave, this is for you. Salud. Yes.
God, that's good.
All right.
It's good stuff.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, I know it is. I'm still going to end up watching it because
it's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl, and I kind of have to do his show. Not really thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, I'm going to find my good points in it. I'm going to find my bad points in it.
Right.
I'm really rooting for the Chiefs too in this whole thing because again, I don't want to see Brady in this. And I understand where you're coming from.
I want both teams to lose.
But I've seen it happen the other way.
I want both teams to lose. Mm-hmm. Can we have that happen? Can they end up in a tie? Like can the Super Bowl go so long, like overtime after overtime, to where both teams are too tired to continue, and then they just say it's the first time in NFL history we could not complete the Super Bowl. We don't have a winner.
Well, the thing is too, that has happened in this little bit of short time between the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl, that COVID scare has come up with the Chiefs here, with that haircut, getting the haircuts done.
Yes.
People, and now there's a few players now.
There's
I think
20.
Robinson and a couple,
20.
that have now
we
been
don't
exposed. Some have been out. There's two that are out.
What we don't know is
they're not like role players.
What we don't know is what 20 Chief players or faculty have gone to this barber. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is Dan Kilgore, who was in the middle of getting his haircut, has half a haircut because at the time the barber was deemed he had COVID, so they just immediately stopped cutting his hair.
Stopped right. I got to go home.
He's got half a bald head.
Like, why would you do that? I mean, oh man.
Listen, at this point, if he's been if he's been working on your hair for halfway through, you might as well complete it at this point. If you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just.
I have a question. God.
Why? Yeah, why? Why would you just stop? In the middle of the haircut, like, let's give you half. At least shave the other side quick and give him a mohawk or something like that.
A little.
I don't know, but now you've got that coming up, and that makes me question things again. Because even like I said, it seems like Tom Brady steps in the luckiest freaking pile of shit I've ever seen.
Right.
That there's always something sneaky around too. You've got deflated balls. You've got, tuck rule. You've got Spygate. And now you have, all of a sudden, now the Chiefs have been mostly fine. In the early on in the season, they had a little bit of a scare with COVID. But now, the Super Bowl week, we're coming to find out now that all of a sudden there's a COVID scare. And the NFL, I mean, they would like to, if they can't get the whole Chiefs, to take the field, they have to cancel the Super Bowl. In a sense, because they can't have them play with nobody on there. That would be horrible. But then how are they going to tell their sponsors that we can't do this or that we've been talking it up for so long? We can't make it happen. Everything's in place. All the money's there. All the things organized. How do you do that? And it just seems like they're giving it to Tom Brady already. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to deal with, and I can't take it anymore. I'm getting stressed already before the game even starts. You know what I'm saying?
We got any comments or anything? Anything new?
I don't know. No. Superbowl said he's got to go. Have a great night, guys. Sorry the last, 10, 20 minutes has been complaining.
Ranting.
I'm sorry, but that's what happens sometimes. When I start drinking, I contemplate things that bother me in my life. I get angry. But we really appreciate you joining us. Have a good time watching the Super Bowl.
We just got another one.
We appreciate it out there. Best show ever. Excellent.
I like it.
Swervo. He's been there for a lot of our good shows.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of great ones out there, a lot of interaction
Swervo,
with guys.
you are amazing, my friend.
He is the guy.
I just want to take this opportunity right now to thank everybody that's tuned into this show, and hopefully you tune into the next show that's going to be coming up after the Super Bowl. We'll be talking about.
I can rant after that, it's already said and done. So I can really get excited
about whoever won. We can just complain about it. So, but no, nonetheless. Thanks, all you know-it-alls out there. Thank you for all your support. We really would appreciate it if you bring your friends and family who enjoy football as well right over to us. Search us up on YouTube or Facebook, Football on the Know Show. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell for our latest and greatest updated content. As well on Facebook, become a member, become a know-it-all. And you can also follow us on Twitter at FB_no.
You got it. There you go. Just click it and say,
hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
That's it. Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
like
sexy
that.
right there.
Right in.
I like that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's it. We've got Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, Tampa Tom here.
Let's just call
Mahomes.
it what it is.
There you go.
Let's not even say the quarterbacks.
There's a gun right there.
It's Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right. Super Bowl 55. It's coming. It's going to be this Sunday. Hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it too. I guess we'll see what happens.
Tune in next week.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot for joining us.